Welcome back, Truth Seekers. If you're new here, congratulations. You just stumbled onto one of the wildest deep dives into biblical mysteries on the internet. I'm your host, Josh, and this is the Truth Seekers Podcast, where we dive deep, ask the hard questions, and uncover the truth hidden in history, mythology, and scripture. Now, today's episode, this is another wild one. We're talking about a book that was buried in ancient text, hidden within the book of Enoch, and barely mentioned in most discussions of Scripture. But what it reveals, oh man, what it reveals could change everything we thought we knew about the pre-flood world. See, what if I told you that Noah might not have been an ordinary man, but actually something more? What if I told you the pre-flood civilization was way more advanced than we ever thought? And what if I told you that this book directly connects the Nephilim, genetic corruption, and why God had to wipe out the entire world? Yes, this one is a deep one. So grab your coffee, your favorite soft drink, maybe even a Red Bull, or a tinfoil hat. Because today, we're uncovering secrets of the Book of Noah. Do you think Noah was just an ordinary man, or was he something unique about him? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Alright, first things first. What even is the Book of Noah? Because let's be real, most of y'all have probably never heard of it. The Book of Noah is an ancient text that was originally part of 1st Enoch, one of the most well-known non-canonical books. Fragments of it were found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, meaning it was circulating among the Jewish communities before Christ. It claims to reveal hidden knowledge about Noah's birth, his connection to Enoch, and why the flood really had to happen. But here's the kicker. This book isn't just a retelling of Genesis. It adds details that are, let's just say, way more controversial. So, have you ever heard of the Book of Enoch before today? Drop a book in the comments if it's a yes. And drop them eyeballs if you're new to all this. Alright, so y'all remember I said this one's a crazy one? This was going to get really wild? Here's where it gets wild. According to the Book of Noah, Noah wasn't born like us. No. Noah was supposedly born glowing. Some versions of this book actually claim that Noah was born with skin as white as snow, his hair glowing like wool, and his eyes lit up an entire house. Not a room, the entire house. His father Lamech freaked out and thought that Noah was part angel. He even ran to Enoch while Enoch was still alive at this point and asked him, "Is my son human or something else?" Others interpret this as a symbolic way of describing Noah's pure genetic bloodline that was untainted by the Nephilim. But really, stop and think about it. Could you imagine giving birth to a baby and it comes out and it belongs to on a cover of some like sci-fi novel? No wonder Lamech was confused. I'd have been freaking out too. I mean, he opens his eyes and I'm blinded by his eyeballs. Be crazy. What do you think? Was Noah's birth actually supernatural? Or was it part of an extravagation? Let's discuss. Now, let's talk about what this book really reveals. The Nephilim connections. Genesis 6, 1 through 4 describes the fallen angels, also known in the book of Enoch as the Watchers. They took human wives and created the Nephilim. The book of Noah expands on this, describing how these fallen beings corrupted humanity with forbidden knowledge and, believe it or not, genetic tampering. It implies that Noah's lineage was pure, not just morally, but genetically, meaning that he was not tainted by the Nephilim bloodline. Genesis 6:9 says, Noah was a just man, perfect in all of his generations, and Noah walked with God. The phrase that perfect in all of his generations suggests that not only did he have moral uprightness, but also had a pure lineage, untainted by the Nephilim corruption. So think about this. This wasn't just about sin. The flood wasn't about people just being bad. It was about stopping complete corruption of God's creation. Do you think the flood was just about sin? Or do you think it was about stopping the genetic corruption? Drop a wave in the comments. So, why are we doing all this? Because Matthew 24:37, as the days of Noah, so shall it be at the days of the coming Son of Man. The corruption of humanity never stopped. The devil's games are always the same. They always just evolve into new forms. The fallen ones are still working behind the scenes, pushing deception, genetic corruption, and, most of all, rebellion against God. The modern parallels are here. Transhumanism is genetic editing, CRISPR, DNA modifications, and the push for enhanced humans. It's all around us. The revival of occult practices, New Age spirituality, channeling, and modern day Watchers cults. Moral corruption, a culture where good is called evil, and evil is called good, and God is kicked out completely. And then we have the UFO alien deception, Asian aliens as a rebranded Watchers deception. Jesus warned that this would happen. As in the days of Noah, so will it be at the coming of the Son of Man. Matthew 24:37. The problem is we're all too distracted. We're not paying attention to what's going on around us to see the prophetic parallels. Do you see these patterns repeating themselves today? Drop a caution if you think history is just repeating itself. So, that's it for today's episode. But before we go, let me hear your thoughts. If you think the flood was just about sin, drop a wave in the comments. But if you believe it was about stopping genetic corruption, drop that DNA link. Let's see where everyone stands. See, the fallen ones are still at work. The battle has never stopped. That's why we're digging into mythology and all these, because there's a little bit of truth to every lie. The question is, are you paying attention? And hey, if you ever find yourself deep in a rabbit hole, chasing lost books at 3 a.m., just remember, God already gave us everything we need in the Bible. No need to turn into a conspiracy theorist running on 3 hours of sleep and caffeine. I ask you like, follow, and share because evil's on the rise. It's up to us to unveil its disguise. Next week, I ask you to join us as we do a deep dive next Sunday into the apocalypse of Abraham. And I promise, this is one you won't want to miss. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and as always, stay truthful.